Alrighty. Yo, what's going on, people? It's been a minute. Yeah, I guess today we're just gonna do a quick little playthrough of Tokyo Escape Room. So yeah, let's get it going here. First things first, we're gonna want to go over to this room and pick up this key card here. And this is gonna be the key card that is for the hotel. If you call the elevator up, it'll take a minute to come up. It's on the bottom floor. We'll get up here, and there's two key cards for 2 floors. Right now we've got the black key card, so we will be able to go to floor 2. And we'll come back to floor 1 a little bit later. Now, if you notice here on floor 2, we're gonna have 7 rooms. Each one of these rooms has a number. And if you look inside of a room, like this one, you'll notice that there's suitcases and items that belong to whoever's staying in the room. With that information, we can deduce that that room is checked in. So like this room would be checked in, this room would be checked in, so 7, 5, and 3. If we look at 6, there's nobody in 6. It's empty, you know, brand new hotel room. 4, same thing, empty. 1, empty, and 2 is empty. And that's going to be the first of many puzzles in Tokyo Escape. So we're going to go over to the room board here. We're going to check 7, we're going to check 3, 2, and 5, because there's the rooms that were checked in. And then that's going to pop that door open. And we'll cruise on over here. Don't worry about this stuff. Now, I would like to apologize a little bit just for how difficult this map turned out to be. I know like a lot of people talked about A Tale for Two being difficult. This might be a little bit more difficult, so I guess we'll see. It's just there's not as much hand holding going on. It's really all up to you to solve these puzzles. So right here we got this smoke, and normally when you walk into it, it's gonna kill you. But now that I've toughened up a little bit with some pizza and mushrooms, I'm full HP. I'll be able to make it through that with just enough health, and then we'll be able to disable that like so. Now you may have noticed, if you were looking, let me just get my shield up with these mushrooms, this little combination of symbols here, and these symbols correlate to the lock that's on the door down this hallway right there. And you might be looking at this like, what is going on here? What are these black spaces? You know, I don't know what's going on. But we're going to have to get into the back side of that room by opening this door. In order to do that, we're going to need to solve a light puzzle. Now, when you turn this light on, it's going to flash once. And that signifies that that is the first light that you need to turn on. Then you're going to need to turn this red one on, the second one, 2 times. The third light is going to be this one, 1, 2, 3 flashes. So it's kind of a little Morse code of sorts, where you just look at how many times the light flashes, and that's going to signify its order. So this one's going to flash 5 times, and then this one will be 6. And once you get that door will pop on open. So a nice little tricky puzzle there. And this is going to bring us to the back side of those hexagon shapes that we were looking at. Now we're going to notice that the 3 numbers that we need for the code are starred right here. So these 3 are the correct sequence. And if we go back to the other side, we're going to have to do a little matching. So we'll notice this bottom one was 1, this top one was 1, and this one was 1. But you'll notice some of those are black. So we're actually going to have to deduce what that is, and these rows are the same as they are on the combination lock. So this is the 3rd row, the 2nd row, and the 1st row. So we know that red is one of them, whatever's between green and blue is one of them, and whatever's between brown and orange is one of them. So we'll go over that combination lock. And so the black one that was between brown and orange was 1, so that's going to be yellow. The one between blue and green, which is purple, that was also black. And then the final one is going to be red. So the code is going to be yellow, purple, red. That's going to pop this door open here. Oh, there's a little gas can. There's a little like bugged thing here with that lock device. Maybe I'll get around to fixing that. We'll see. So now that you've got that popped open, we're gonna have a gas can. If we take that gas can down to this little parking garage, we'll be able to fill up some nice gas here. And we'll drive this car right over here so we can pop up into this ventilation. Now, in here there's going to be 6 trash cans, and if you've looked around the map a little bit, you may have found the 6 switches that these correspond to. And these trash cans are essentially going to be a guide of which order you need to flip the switches in. So you're going to start in this trash can, because it has the arrow pointing to it, and you're going to hop in. That's going to be the first switch. Now, the trash can that you pop out of is going to be the second switch that you need to turn on. So we're going to need to turn this switch on second. We're then going to hop back into the trash can for the second switch, and that's going to take you to the third switch. So it's kind of like a little maze. So it's 1 to 2 to 3, and so on. I'll leave the rest of that to you guys to solve. Man, can I get through the window? Jeez. So, let's go check out those switches. And those switches, they're a little bit tricky to find. They're hidden, I'd say, in the laundromat, right above the parking garage, behind this washing machine that you actually do have to pickaxe. And notice there's an arrow here too, kind of to give you a little hint, because this is a really tricky puzzle. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. And that is going to give us power to the lower parking garage, which is going to light up all those rooms various different colors. Now, if you noticed anything interesting about the cars, is that they all come in 3 different colors. We've got blue cars, red cars, green cars, and these rooms are now lit up those 3 colors. So we're going to need to park all of these cars in their respective room after I fuel up this entire armada here. Alright. Now, one thing to note, the car does not need to be parked perfectly. Like, it doesn't need to be in between the lines or anything. I'm not that psychotic, but it just needs to be in the right colored room. And be careful when driving cars into a room. If you drive a car into a room, and like if you hop out of the car while it's in motion and it goes into a different room, it won't register that it went into that room. There needs to be a person driving the car for the counting system to register. So I did put this sign here because it has happened before. So just make sure you drive them in there and park them before you get out. And if anything does get bugged or a car gets stuck, you can reset them over there at the parking terminal. But yeah, this puzzle just takes time, you know, you gotta drive the cars. Hopefully you got a friend or two who can help you out. One car at a time. That's all we can do. And yeah, to everybody that has been commenting on my YouTube and Twitter and such, asking when my next map is coming out. Sorry it took so long, y'all. It's been a bit busy this summer, but I'm glad the way this map turned out. I think there's some great puzzles in there. So hopefully y'all like it. Sheesh, why did I decide to have so many cars? I couldn't have just gone for like 5 or 6. Made my life a little easier, made your guys' lives easier. If one thing was to be said about Castaway Ostrich, it would not be that he was a nice person. Alright. Open sesame. So now that we got those cars parked, I will exit the parking garage, never to return to this foul place ever again. We're gonna hop in the elevator, And we're gonna go on up to a magical land that we've never been to before. Oh wait, we have been here. My bad. So yeah, the elevator doesn't take you anywhere important, but what it does do is play some music with this timer here. There's also like a hatch in the ceiling, but we'll come back to that later. That's not important until we unlock some more stuff. So this gives us a 35-second song, and if you listen to that song, you'll be able to figure out that there's a sequence of instruments that are playing. So yeah, just listen to that song, get the instruments going. If you need to go back down the elevator, you can listen to it again as many times as you need to. And if you've been walking around the map a little bit, you may have noticed that over here there's a bar, and there's some interesting instruments in the bar. Now, the instruments are going to be played in 5-second increments, so every 5 seconds a new instrument comes in, and I'm going to do the order of the instruments here for y'all, but it's going to start off with the drums, and then at 5 seconds we're going to want the piano to come in, and then the bass guitar. And the window is relatively generous. As long as you're within like a second and a half of the dedicated time, you should be fine. Get a little acoustic guitar going. Time for that saxophone to come in, baby. And we'll finish it off with the vocals at 25. And that is going to reveal us this little drink menu here. We've got 8 drinks on the menu, and those are going to be for these things. But we're going to have to do a couple more steps before we are able to do anything with those. But we'll come back to that. And shout out to my friend Benji for making the music for that puzzle. Honestly, I tried to make some music. I'm not the most musically inclined folks, so it wouldn't have sounded nearly as good without Benji. So here we got this little puzzle with these like disc things. Yeah, there's 4 of them, and they're all different colors. Now, if you've been enjoying your time at the sushi bar, you know, maybe grabbing a drink with some friends, pounding some sake, eating some rolls, you'll notice there's 4 different arrows, and they're different colors. So we got the white arrows pointed down, the red and black one up to the right, the blue one just straight to the west, and this pink one kind of down to the bottom right corner. That is going to be the position that you want to stop each one of these little dials in. And it shouldn't be that difficult, so it's not that hard to do. So it's just bottom, top right, left, and then bottom right. When you get that, these doors should pop open, and that will give us access to these storage sheds. Now, this fishing room will be important later, but we'll come back to that. We're going to have different colored rooms, and the stuff that is inside each of the rooms is important, because that stuff will correlate to a color. So for example, in the green room we have plants and such. We've got all these delicious plants and flowers and beautiful, beautiful things. In the blue room we've got workout equipment, the dark blue room to be precise. In the purple room we have alien technology going on. And in the orange room we have samurai vibes. All 4 of those rooms are going to be important. The other rooms, they don't really matter, they're just there to throw you off. So keep those rooms in mind here, folks, as we meander on over to the Tokyo bookstore. Now, if we come into the bookstore, we'll notice not only are there some books that we can read here, there are these 4 different colored miniature display cases. And you might notice this one's of aliens, this one's of plants and a wheelbarrow, this one's of a samurai, and this one's of workout equipment. So if we set the color of each one of these display cases to the same thing that was in the room, so we've got the dark blue for the workout, the orange for the samurai, the green for the garden house, and the purple for our friend from outer space here. That will pop on open in the library, and this is going to give us a spinning code, and we're actually going to be able to set a number to colors here, and we're going to need to set a specific number. Now, if you've looked around the map, back over by the jazz bar. Let's go check it out. There is actually a little key or a code to figure out what you need to set this wheel to. And that key and code is right over here. Is going to be this. 1 equals the light blue circle. So 1 is equal to light blue, and when you set 1 to light blue, all of the other numbers are going to be correct. So 5 is equal to green, and red is 6, and so on and so forth. And that is going to be the puzzle to solve the grocery store problem. Now we're going to have this cash register, and we're going to need to figure out the price of all of these items on the cash register. What's the total cost going to be? In order to figure that out, we're going to need to look at the prices. But some of the prices, especially for the items that we need to figure out, are missing. And they're missing, but they've been replaced by colors. So we've got purple, white, well, at least there's a 0 there, so we know some of it. But a lot of these codes are completely missing. So we're going to need to use that color wheel to decipher these codes. So if you decipher it, green is 5, purple is 0. So these mushrooms are going to be 50 cents. And we look at that, we got 3 mushrooms over here. So that's a $1.50 right there. We got $1.50. The bananas, they're like, I don't know, I think they're 75 cents. Yeah, because green is 5 and purple is 0. So that's 75 cents. We got 2 bananas. That's another $1.50. So that's 300 total. Taffies are like 125 maybe, something like that. I don't know, not important, but I'll let you guys do the math. Eventually, if you add up everything that's on the register, you find the correct price with that color wheel, and then you add up all these items. The cost of the items is going to be $8.25. Oh shoot. Now we're past the 8. Go all the way back around the long way. Boom. It's going to pop the register open, and it's going to give us some gold coins. And I'm going to need to take a lot of these gold coins. Let's get rid of this stuff. You guys probably won't need as many coins if you're playing with a group, but if you're playing by yourself, you're going to need to buy a couple harpoon guns. So if we cruise on over to the pawn shop here, we're going to be able to purchase this harpoon gun for 5 coins. I'm going to need 3 or 4 of these guys. And we're going to go back to that little pool in the storage unit building. And we're going to go fishing. Beautiful night in Tokyo to go fishing. At a pristine fishing location. And we're going to fish these fish up. And as you fish these fish, you'll notice the occupancy is going down. And this is just a reminder to let you know kind of how many fish are actually in the pool. So we're going to want to get that number to 0. Down to 1. Alright, that's all of our fish. Now if we pick up all of these fish, this is going to be the code. Now you can reset the pool, which will take all the fish out of your inventory, as well as it will clear all the fish that are on the ground. But we're going to want to count these fish. And this is going to be what we set these fish over here to. So it's how many fish are in the sea. And there are 3 spicy fish in the quote-unquote sea, 4 floppers, 2 stinkfish, 2 slurpfish, and 5 octofish. And that is going to pop on the door open for us right over here. And we got a lot of fish. I guess we'll just hold on to these guys for now. But we're going to want to come over here and grab a gas can. Or we could use a cuttlefish too. Cuttlefish will get the job done either way. Now we're going to come over here to the little room that we opened, and we're going to have some pipes. Now keep these pipes in mind for later, because these pipes are going to be helpful for the bar puzzle. But we can throw this right here in this little fan, and it can't actually drop down there, it just kind of gets stuck. But if we come back around, we'll come through here. Now the reason we have to bring it through there is because this is a security checkpoint, and there's certain things that you're not allowed to bring into the subway system for safety of the other passengers. Those fish incredibly dangerous, you know what I mean? We can't have fish loose on the subway. And a can of gasoline that's highly flammable is also a no-no. Now we can't, actually, you probably can get this just by jumping, which you can. But if you suck at jumping, you can turn the water on to get up there, and if you turn all of the water on in all the stalls, you'll be able to get the gas can out, no problem. Yeah, so we got this gas can now. We'll throw this down here. Hit it. And we'll blow those rocks to sweet smithereens. And here comes our first little sit on the bench, wait for the train to come by. Look at those happy guys. A train of gnomes. Now, where are those gnomes going? What are they doing? God only knows. But what I do know is that we need to count how many gnomes there are. And there are exactly 5 gnomes on that train that look like this guy. And it's not just gnomes in general. It's the gnome with the blue hat holding the stick, with the red shirt and the yellow undershirt. So we count the number of gnomes on that train. Now we're going to need to count the number of Meowscle plushies. And be careful, because there's teddy bears that kind of look like Meowscles. There's like a Hawaiian Meowscles with a ukulele. Don't count that thing. There's bananas and pink things, so only count the Meowscles. Now if we count the Meowscles, that's going to be 4 Meowscles. And finally there's going to be the robots coming. And I mean, nobody likes robots, we don't need to wait for them. There's going to be 8 robots total. And that is going to be the code for the lock, 854. I'll pop that door open. Here they come. Look at those happy guys. There goes Claptrap. And yeah, those trains will just continue to cruise on by as we go through this. Now, over here, we're going to have a start sequence. And you actually can't do anything with this. This is just a diagram that is going to help you out. But this goes in correlation with the Tokyo City map. Now, this Tokyo City map is a bird's eye view of Tokyo. The bottom of this map is where we came in, so right in between the orange and yellow X at the very bottom, that's kind of where you started the game. And then like right now we're in the subway, which isn't on the map. It's only like the ground floor, like the outside. None of the interiors are included on this map. And each one of those colored X's is going to be a payphone. You're going to need to ring those 6 payphones in the correct order, and the correct order is determined by their color, which is indicated by the start sequence. So in order to start up all these phones in the correct order, we're going to need to start at the start, and we're going to do yellow first, then green, then blue, then purple, then red, then orange will be the last one. So if we look at this, red, or yellow is going to be the first one, then green, then blue, then purple, then red, and then orange is the final one. So we're going to need to visually understand where those are on the map, understand the sequence, and then we're going to have to go start them. So this is going to be the first one right here. 1. Skip past that one. It's going to be the second one. Third one. Fourth phone. Fifth phone. And finally, this one's going to be the last one. Takes a minute to get around the city. Alright, now we got the pawn shop open over here. If we look inside this room, we've got a harpoon gun, and it's kind of pointing at this key card. And if we look to the right, there's this arrow pointing at this hole in the wall with a painting. If you look through here, there's this very similar painting right there. So we're going to come back around to that painting. First, we're going to rob the grocery store again, because I'm going to need another harpoon gun, sadly. Pick up another harpoon gun. And we're not going to be able to walk through this painting because the hole's too small, but we will be able to shoot through it and pick up that estate vault key card. And this is going to be the key card to get to the first floor of the hotel. Let's see if floor 1 is any more interesting than floor 2. So right away, we're going to be greeted by 3-digit numbers for each of the door codes, as opposed to the 1-digit ones on the green floor. And one of these doors is not going to have a code set. It's going to be missing its room number. And we're going to need to do a little pattern solving here. If we look at the first number, it starts with 312. The second room, each number gets increased by 1. So it goes from 3 to 4, 1 to 2, and from 2 to 3. So it just goes up by 1 for each number. So it's 4, 2, 3. Same thing for the next room. 5, 3, 4 goes up by 1 number. And if we follow this, this is the 8th room, or the 6th room, 8, 6, 7. The next number would be 9, 7, 8. So the code for this should be 9, 7, 8. And that one's pretty tricky. It's just, gotta pay attention to the numbers and just do a little pattern recognition. Tricky puzzle, so if you get stuck on that, I completely understand. It's an easy thing to miss. I'll pop that door open. And there will be a key in this room. And that key will be very important for later on in the game. Alright, now we're going to cruise back over here to the bar. This bar puzzle might be one of the trickiest on the map. So we've got 4 bar items. We can interact with each one of these. And these are hooked up to colored pipes: blue, green, white, and red. We have 8 drinks that we need to pour: slurp juice, nitro fuel, shield juice, and slap juice. And then they kind of just repeat themselves. So we're going to need to figure out which one of these is which one of these 4 drinks. Now, to do this, we're going to go into this room where we see that the blue, red, and green pipes and the white pipe all come from this room. So we got the white pipe, the green pipe, the red pipe, and the blue pipe. They all come out of this wall somewhere, and they connect to pipes on this side. So the blue pipe connects to the brown pipe, the white pipe connects to the orange pipe, the green pipe connects to the purple pipe, and the red pipe connects to the light blue pipe. And you might be wondering, well, where are all these pipes? They're in the subway. If you may have noticed, there's this yellow glowing hole on the ceiling. We're actually going to need to get up there. And we're going to do that with a little help from our friends, the robots. And if we just mantle on top of this train while it's going past, we'll be able to hop up there no problem. Oh no. Oh no. That was close. Oh no. Alright, cut that. Apparently it's going to be a bit of a problem. It is a little difficult to mantle up there, especially if you get stuck in between the train tracks and the side. You know, I didn't like those robots anyway, so we're just going to go with the gnomes this time. But, yeah, we'll get up there. We'll get up there, folks. Don't worry. Holy Lord. Alright. Second time's the charm. So now we have that brown pipe, that blue pipe, that purple pipe, and that orange pipe. And you'll also notice we have 4 drinks. We have shield juice, nitro fuel, slurp juice, and slap juice. So those are going to be our 4 drinks. We're going to need to note down that orange goes to, I forgot what color it goes to. Brown goes to blue, blue goes to red, purple goes to green, and orange goes to white. So write that down. Then we're going to have to go pour the correct drinks after I finish getting ran over by the plushies. And this puzzle is super hard, honestly. I mean, wicked hard puzzle. So the first drink is going to be slurp juice. That's going to be green, which goes to purple, which connects to the slurp juice. The second drink is going to be nitro fuel, which is that red. Nitro is red. Shield juice, which is going to be number 3, that's going to be blue. And then slap juice, which is going to be white, that's number 4. Nitro fuel again, so that's red. Shield juice again, so that's blue. Nitro fuel, which is red. And then finally slap juice, which is white. And we will get ourselves some Flowberry Fizz. And now this is the fun part. I'm sure you've been messing around with the stuff in the little, what's it called, restaurant. You probably found some good stuff there. But we're gonna need to gather ourselves some ingredients to do some cooking. And we're going to need a lot of ingredients. So I'm just going to start bringing some stuff over here. We're going to need some pizza, some mushrooms, a little meat, a little Flowberry Fizz, a little berry. Because we need 3 dishes to make, and each one of those dishes is going to have 3 ingredients. Now, you may think that the only thing that you can put in those dishes is grocery store items, and that would be a reasonable assumption. But if you've been looking around the city a little bit, you may have noticed that there's a lot of fish here too, and well, there's some of that fizz that we got from the bar as well. So we're going to need to use all of that stuff. First we're going to need to reset the pool, which actually, now that I think about it, might clear those items I just dropped. Which is fine though. Alright, I think we got all the fish we need. Yeah, those fish did clear it. It's alright though. Let me go back and grab those 5 ingredients again. You can grab that fizz too. Alright, time to do some cooking, folks. First up on the menu, dish 1. A little protein topped with nothing from a plant or animal and just might leave you tipsy. Now, if you've looked in the fish market, there's going to be a sign that talks about the slurp fish being filled with a little bit of protein. So we're going to need the slurp fish for that little bit of protein. A little tipsy, we're going to get some of that fizz, so a little tipsy. And nothing from a plant or animal. This mushroom is a fungus, so that is not from a plant or animal. So we're going to do mushroom, fizz, and slurp fish. It's a little sauteed fish with some mushrooms. That's going to pop us out dish. Well, I guess it says dish 2. We'll fix that. But dish 1. Now we've got dish 2. The thin with the fat, certain to leave your tongue hot and screaming. So we're going to have pizza, which is very thin. It says that in the apartment. The meat, this is a fatty meat. And the spicy fish, which is spicy. It's going to be the second dish. And then finally, for the third dish, we're going to have a sweet blend of refreshing flavors made with 8 times the love. Now, this drink, the fizz, is known to be refreshing, as noted in the apartment, with this very sweet berry, and 8 times the love. This is a cuttlefish, and it's got 8 tentacles. He's full of love, I just know it. And we're gonna cook him up, because we love him back. And that's gonna make dish for 3. And once you have all of the dishes made, you're gonna get that charcoal black mineral powder. And the char and the key are going to be important to escaping the city in a minute. But the final puzzle, which we're going to need some more fizz for, is going to give us a way out of here. Now, if you remember this elevator shaft, talked about it, we can pop a little flowberry fizz, cruise on up here. And there's going to be all of these different paintings of these fantasy characters. And at first glance, you might just think, well, it's some sort of color puzzle. There's different colors. You know, they're all doing whatever. But if you look a little closer, all of these characters are actually sitting in chairs that are positioned in locations around the map. So this chair is in the library. This chair is in the sushi restaurant. This chair is next to the pawn shop. This chair is in the subway, and so on. And we're going to look at these images and figure out what order we need to sit in these chairs. And that order is going to be based off the sketches of these characters found in the library. So if we look in the library, we can see that number 1 is going to be the cat. Number 2 is going to be the ivy tree creature. Number 6 over here is going to be water girl. And so on and so forth. Book number 5 is a little hard to find. It's actually in this room, so if anyone's looking for 5, that's the frog. But yeah, so you're going to need to look at those 6 images, and those are going to tell you 6 chairs that you need to sit on. So the first one is going to be the cat, right here on this nice little cushion. Second one is going to be the tree girl in the laundromat, next to that trash bin. Third one is going to be this nice little white puffball sitting in this chair. And fourth, we've got the dragon. He's sitting in the chair to the right of this dragon poster. And fifth, we have Mr. Frog, who is, he's doing his business. Funny business. And make sure when you sit in those chairs, like, if you do sit in one of the wrong chairs, you're going to have to start over from the beginning. All the other chairs will reset the whole thing. So yeah, just get them right. And then this chair is going to be the bench right here. And a train boarding shortly message is going to pop up. So 6 chairs all around the map, kind of a cumulative of everything that you've been through already. We're going to have our favorite robots coming to pick us up. Doors will pop open. And in order to depart, we're actually going to need some char black mineral powder and a key. So, good thing we'd already solved those puzzles. Otherwise, we would have had some more cooking and code breaking to do. And there goes the train. A little exit music as we cruise on out of this puzzle torture. And that is the Tokyo escape room. This is by far the hardest map I've ever made. I mean, there's no questions asked about that. If you thought A Tale for Two was difficult, buckle your seatbelts up, folks, because this is definitely a little bit trickier. If you've completed the map, just at me on Twitter, send me your name and what color you want, and I'll add you to the Spirits of Tokyo wall. Shout out to all my playtesters for playtesting this map. It was a buggy nightmare, but that's all from me, folks. If you play my maps and enjoy them, I appreciate it. Without your support, I really couldn't do this, so appreciate y'all. That's all from me, guys. You have a good day. Peace.